Welcome to Tarot Time. And if you're watching this as a video, hang in there. I will give the live people a moment or two to get their notifications. But if you're on live, welcome also. And firstly, did you guys miss me? Well, the good news is that we're going back to our regular schedule for the foreseeable future until August anyway, when I have the retreat. So every Sunday, 11 a.m., we dive into what's going on energetically for the week ahead using tarot and other divination tools. Maybe talk about the trends and current events, the economy, the politics, the world movements, and all that stuff, how that affects us individually and how that affects us as a community. And as the information comes through, you may be able to take some of the stuff as messages for your personal life or for your immediate family or community or for the world at large or for all of the above. So, anyway, a lot going on, a lot to talk about this morning. So, I'm going to start out by saying my usual hellos while the live people slowly get their notifications. Hello, Millie. Hello, horses. Welcome. Oh, I missed you too. Hey, Laura, Jody, Josh of Mr. Floyd Universe. Welcome. Hello, Cindy. Hello, Angela. Hello, family. Hello, Yvonne. And who do we miss? Hello, Enspree. Hello, Beverly. Welcome. Welcome, Katie. One love. One love. Love. Wow. Already getting on. Let's see. Enjoy your reading. So interesting. Enjoy your reading. If thoughts become energy, then reality. What will happen if you are 100% relying on AI? That's a good question. Well, they're catching misinformation coming out in AI, and we're going to see more and more scandals around AI surfacing. So I think humanity is going to awaken enough that it becomes more of a useful tool for our ascension rather than something that's controlling us and dumbing us down. But anyway, and what else? What else? You are outside looking at airplanes flying by and thinking when is going to crash. 1 month later, one crashes. Premonition or law of averages. It could be both. And I do a lot of predictive work. Oh, let me hide the comment. So we have to be also aware, as psychics doing predictive work. I do this on YouTube of the phenomena known as predictive programming. Like, in other words, if enough people believe a prediction, we're helping to create it, basically. So when I do these, I always let you guys know we have free will, and this is just what's showing up, but this is just in the current timeline. So it's up to us to create a better tomorrow, right? By creating a better now and being in our best energy right now. And that'll help in our individual lives. But if enough people do that, that's going to help with the collective and helps to raise things. I'd be more than happy if some of the more difficult predictions that I made don't come true. I'll be celebrating. I'll be dining on crow. You know the expression eating crow when you're wrong. I'll be giving salt and pepper, seasoning that crow. There's plenty of crows out there. There's like murders of crows, all out there. They love my neighborhood. But anyway, I'm getting a little bit silly. So what else is going on, guys? 500 Suki. Okay, missing a few comments. QQQ. Will I be okay flying to England in August from Canada? Just keep an eye on things because July and August are going to be very interesting months of change, basically. What else are we saying? We're just saying our hellos. Hello, Claire. I know I'm missing a couple people, and if I did, hi, Karen. Hi, Blindly Inspired. Krista, welcome. Judy and Judy again. And new comments. Odelia, welcome. Hello, Babs. When will UAPs start to show up on a regular basis? Yeah, they are. And hello, Beth, also. And we're gonna do a retreat here in the Catskills in August. It's Spirit Fest 2025, so it's my second annual retreat, Spirit Fest retreat. Some of you were at the first one. It was a very powerful gathering, was it not? And we got our SecMed initiations also last year. This year, it's Escape the Matrix, and I'm hoping we have clear skies. We did not have clear skies last time. And if we do, we'll all go outside, we'll do our prayers, and we'll call on the extraterrestrials, and maybe we'll see some phenomena. Maybe we'll help to create it. July and August, interesting how well. This is where myself and a lot of other people that do predictive psychic work are feeling a huge change. Now, in numerology, July is a 16 month, which is the Tower card in tarot, and in Chaldean numerology, the symbol is the shattered citadel, which is basically the same thing. So number 16, it's very conducive for the tower to fall. And in this case, it would be the tower of a world of corruption built on a foundation of greed, corruption, and power over others that needs to fall. And the energy is going to be more conducive to that. And I did, speaking of predictive stuff and all that, I did a couple of videos, actually 3 altogether, a live stream, an upload, and a 40-second short, all about the energies of May. That's the month for it, and May the 4th be with you. I can't resist being both a fan of Star Wars and a Trekkie and all that. May the 4th be with you. This is the day that I'm celebrating my brother Michael's transition into the spirit world that happened in 1998. Yesterday, I was celebrating my mother's physical birthday, who's in the spirit world. So basically, I'm the last survivor other than my son and his mom and that branch of my family. But in any regard, I'm digressing. So so this is so we did you have certain predictions, and I've lost my train of thought, but in any event, a lot is going down, a lot's coming out. I think we're hearing a lot of RFK Jr.'s name and Make America Healthy Again. And, whatever we want to say about RFK Jr., if corruption is truly getting exposed, if the additives are truly being taken out of the foods, if things are being retested, there's a lot of from what I'm seeing, there's a lot of misinformation about things, about vaccinations and whatever. I believe, from what I understand, that the goal is for understanding like what's behind autism and doing more like larger, more balanced tests. Anyway, I'm losing my words right now, but the point being is that the idea is to find out what's going on, basically, not to necessarily say that the vaccines are doing this or not doing that. And the studies are really about like what's causing the massive spike in things like autism. Is it vaccinations? Is it chemical spraying? Is it something else, basically? So I think you're finding out, getting to the bottom of that, and challenging the pharmaceutical companies and the mainstream news. And you may have noticed, as I have, and I'm sure a lot of you have, if you turn on like CNN or whatever, and a show comes on, you'll see a little sign there saying, and sponsored by Pfizer, sponsored by Moderna, or whatever. So when when certain interest groups are sponsoring and funding the media is going to have interest also in those groups that are funding them. So the idea is we want to really expose the whole network of corruption, and not necessarily, pinpoint every little thing, but expose the whole network and how things are run and how the system is run. And once that's happened, then maybe we can understand more about how to stay safe. Remove food additives, reduce or eliminate aerosol chemical spraying in the atmosphere that the government does admit to, even though some people are still saying it's not real, and all that kind of good stuff. So I think we're seeing a lot of that. And of course, there's going to be a lot of pushback, again, because there's certain parties that profit and thrive from misinformation, or suppression of information, I should say. So anyway, what do you guys have to say? And then we're going to jump into some tarot. And Beverly is saying that if they cared about a person's health, they would ban fast food. Everyone go back to the basics, eating healthy food and cooking from scratch. Convenience is easy and unhealthy due to additive food. Yeah, on that note, I have a microwave oven. I've not used my microwave in over 3 years. When I started to realize there'd be certain mornings that I'd wake up feeling very dizzy and ungrounded and horrible. And after a while, I realized those were the mornings after I took a shortcut and microwaved my food instead of using a conventional oven. So, yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly. Yeah. And, uh, and that's it, the whole network. Um, well, right. It will just grow. That is a really, really good and intelligent point. Thank you, Karen. And then one lover saying, "I don't think I'm crazy. Believing all this vaccine and food is hard to." Well, people are going to get exposed, and you know what? There's corruption on all sides. So there's current government corruption also. There's corruption from the other government. It's a different kind or whatever. But if things are going to get exposed, if the things that are harming humanity are going to get exposed, then it's a good thing as long as long well, I'll put it this way, the end does not necessarily justify the mean, and that is definitely a debatable topic of how they're going about it, who's benefiting, who's suffering, all that stuff. It's definitely debatable, and I think it's going to get exposed on a lot of levels. So yeah, and Laura's saying that they keep people so busy that they exactly. Yeah, we don't have time to necessarily cook things. One love, I don't like flying either. I'm going on a trip. Oh, as well, I just project. Yeah, always see yourself safe in your destination. I do this when I drive also. When I go to drive or fly, I always see myself in my destination safe and happy whenever I travel. So that's a good thing that you guys can do also. All right, so let's get into a little bit of cards, and I'm sure further discussion on what's going on in the world and society is going to evolve from that also. But that's what I like to do. Start out with a meditation card for the week that'll tap into the energies and what energies we can work on in our meditation practices. And once I pull the card, for those that are new, I will explain how I meditate with tarot, what I recommend doing. Uh, Karen, I think it's because I'm very highly sensitive. Like I'm sensitive to medications, vaccinations. About probably 15 years ago, when I did my last tetanus shot, and I just had eczema flare ups for 3 months, and that was just horrible. That was the last vaccine I ever took. So no flu. I mean, I wouldn't do the flu vaccine anyways. Like Joe Dispenza said, I do heart brain coherence. What do I need the vaccine for? I'm naturally increasing my immunity, and that's what vaccines do. They alter your immune system to be able to uh, fend off certain pathogens. Basically, I'm not anti-vax, but I am very much an advocate of learning how to do things naturally. What if they take the medicines away? What if they take the vaccines away? What happens then? And you don't know how to do work for yourself to enhance your own immune system and to stay healthy. So good lesson as we go further and further into AI and more vaccines and more amazing medicines, amazing therapies. Um, don't relinquish your control. Don't relinquish your higher abilities. When telephones, telegraphs, and all that stuff became more and more available, people became less and less telepathic, basically. It's great to have these medicines when we need it, but not at the expense of dumbing us down and dumbing down our own abilities to heal ourselves. Even in the bubonic plague, there were pockets of people that did not get sick because they knew about energy, they knew about herbs, they knew about natural things. Basically, um, of course, they were the ones that were called the heathens, the pagans, blah blah blah, and so forth and so on. And it was more the the quote unquote civilized people that became more vulnerable to these things. So it's good to have a balanced approach. So, like I said, I don't think we should demonize modern medication and modern medicine. I just don't think we should be overly relying on that or anything in modern society. Basically, that's my take. But what do you guys think? Um, uh, Thieves oil, yeah, in doTERRA it's called On Guard, same formula. I use it every day. Do your zinc lozenges, your C's, but more than anything, do your heart brain coherence. That's been imp- through the use of empirical data, thanks to Joe Dispenza, thanks to Heart Math Institute, it's shown that practice literally increases the immunoglobulins in the system to a factor of up to 50%, which is basically our immune system that wards off things like viruses and cancers and stuff like that. I mean, it's not 100% effective. It's only increasing at 50%. But again, you know, I haven't gotten I've gotten COVID 3 times, but other than that, the last time I had a common cold was 3 years ago. And I'm around people that are getting sick all the time. I don't get sick. I do heart brain coherence. Basically, I mean, every now and then, sometimes we get sick as a cleansing. Sometimes viruses invade our system and we wind up cleansing, like detoxing. So, catching a cold isn't a bad thing necessarily, but I think you guys know what we're saying. So, develop your own immunity, use the supplements, use your internal training. Have the Western medicine when we need it, of course. Um, I had polio in a past lifetime. I will tell the story, and I promise I'm going to get it back into tarot, but this is how tarot time normally works anyways. I had polio my last lifetime. When I was by the time I was 4 years old, I would make my mom tell me over and over again that I'll never get polio because of Dr. Salk's vaccine. I swear this is true. I didn't realize that, and I had recurring dreams up until the age 24 that I was a short, fat man. I'm thinking of Jethro Tull's song "Fat Man" for the music lovers out there. Now I'm a short, thin man, but whatever the case. And in these dreams, I could not feel my legs. I was sitting down, and I would get out of my chair, and there'd be people around me begging me not to do it. I do it, and I get up on my ineffective legs, fall flat on my face, and the dream would end. Recurring dream up until I was 24. What happened when I was 24? I had the past life memory of having polio, living in England, being an only child. Also, I had rheumatic fever. Somehow I developed the ability to walk again, in my late teens or early 20s, but and then I lost it again when I got older. But anyway, long story short, once I realized that, I never ever had that dream again. So, of course, polio is a horrible thing. Vaccines have eradicated it, virtually eradicated it, right? So, there's both sides of the argument, and I'm a Libra, so I'm able to see both sides of the argument and make my decisions, basically. So anyhow, what are you guys saying here? Good afternoon, Anna from England. What a hard life, yes. Restocking on supplements. It's good to be stocked up. Yeah, and this sounds like a comment to the post. I'm and hard and appreciate modern medicine, but I don't take meds or even aspirin unless absolutely I rarely get sick. I mean, heart brain coherence is one of many practices that can basically ignite the heart, reestablish the heart brain spirit connection. There's a lot of yoga techniques, breath techniques that'll do similar things also as well. And that's the key, the centurion, the people that live past 110, they'll say the same things. What do you owe your longevity to? I live from the heart. I live with compassion. I live simply. I ate simple foods. It goes on. There is a pattern there, basically. Anyhow, saying Karen, you I know mothers don't microwave baby, but I didn't know how serious it is. Yeah, I mean everybody's different, but the microwaves is altering you know the energy, the chi and the prana, and these things, and look at what like Wi-Fi signals or cell signals. If you run a Wi-Fi, do you not notice that your Wi-Fi signal goes a little bit wacky for a moment? These all run on microwaves. It's all a grid, and it's a grid that's set up using a sacred geometry pattern that's kind of like almost like this is what I read anyway. So I'll preface that that using an inverted flower of life motif that's kind of designed to draw chi out of us, basically. And we're exposed to these every day, the cell towers, the Wi-Fi. So have your shungite, do your heart brain coherence, because the heart's the largest electromagnetic generator in the body. If you strengthen the heart, you strengthen your electromagnetic fields, and you resist the damaging effects from the electromagnetic frequencies or the chi or prana draining effects from it, and get out into nature also. Nature restored almost within minutes. Nature can restore your field. So if you're on the computer a lot, make sure you get a lot of nature breaks. Have your shungite. Oh, I do have my shungite here and all that good stuff. Blindly inspired say we just eat dead foods. Thank you for that. Yeah. um I am so Libra. I know. I'm Libra. I'm on the 11 life path, which is 2 1s in balance. I'm the middle child. Right now I'm the only child living, but I'm still the middle child. And yeah. So you're welcome. So now that we're 20 minutes in, back to tarot, back to our meditation card. I'll try not to get waylaid by you're very intelligent and what's the word? Oh gosh, I can't think of my words this morning. I need water. Provocative. Thank you. Provocative comments. Um. Uh, no, yes, Cindy, gardening. Yes, I want to start a garden. I think I'll do that next year. It's too late this year, but we're gonna actually on Tuesday. I think Tuesday I'm gonna upload another video of on the years 2027 to 2032, and we may be making some moves to create community, semi off grid, basically, and you're all welcome to that. So we're going to start to make some plans. I think 2027 into 2028 is the time that it's really going to happen, unless we're able to change the timelines, which would be wonderful if we can. So anyway, back to our meditation card, clearing my mind. It's funny, I'm seeing babies. You guys with the formulas, you got me thinking about babies. Wow, this is some pretty strong energy here. The Knight of Swords charging in. Yes. Oh yeah, I'm the middle child. It's kind of the black sheep, I'm looking at Karen's comment. It's like my mom would say, if you were my first, there never would have been a second. But then there was a third. There was an accident, but that's a whole other story. But yeah, kind of the black sheep. The different one. The weird one. All that stuff. Life goes on, right? So the way I like to meditate with tarot, firstly, you always get present when you stop your thoughts and you become aware of your breath, body, and the space around your body. Your conscious raises. You can do that right now, and you can feel a little ascension just by not thinking and being aware of your breath and everything and focusing on nothing. So the next step is in your mind, when you're very present and aware, you step into the card. So this is the Hanson Roberts deck version of the Knight of Swords. If you have your own deck, you can take it out and visualize it or see it before you meditate. But then when you step in, the first thing is gauge the energy. If you're very present, when you step in, it's an energetic shift you're creating, and you're starting to blend with the energy of this tarot card. You'll feel a little bit differently or a lot differently. So gauge that. Then what do you hear? What do you smell? What do you taste? What do you see? Because this is just the doorway. There's a whole panoramic view, 360 degrees. And this is just a little sliver of that view. And who's that Knight of Swords? Is that a spirit loved one? Is that a guide? Is that a part of you, an aspect of yourself? But go in present, and there may be other guides, and just ask for information. Since this is a card of action, because it's a knight, it's fire, but swords is of the mind. It's acting upon what you think and what you believe now. So that might be a message for us as it's time. This is a week to act. It's a week of action. We're coming into what we're in the first quarter of the moon, so the moon and the sun are squaring off today. Pluto stationed today at 3 degrees Aquarius, so Pluto's very, very powerful. Pluto's evolution, it's the deep primal soup energy, and how that it's a very powerful force. And the irony of it is that Pluto is like a tiny little planetoid that can't possibly have any effect on the gravitational or effects of the Earth, not like the sun and the moon that affect gravity on Earth, but yet it's a very powerful energy. And it's in Aquarius. That's evolution. That's change. It's the Aquarian age, so it's going to be retrograde the next 5 months. But anyway, so that's our meditation card. So let us move on. You eat as much raw food as you can. Thank you, blindly inspired. Let me show that to the crowd. Yeah, I mean, I have a blend. Like I had a Japanese sweet potato last night. I mean, I suppose you could eat raw yams and sweet potatoes, but I'm sure there's a way to do that. But anyway, yeah, lots of raw living foods is an excellent idea. Yeah. Moon is in Leo, so it's kind of, well, it was squaring off to Pluto yesterday. It's off the square of Pluto today, but yeah, it's in the squaring side. Thank you, Karen. Let me let people know what we are talking about. So let's do a 3-card spread now. Let us get into that. Incidentally, since it's on my mind, if you're enjoying tarot time and you want to give the video a little bit of a like, that might get it out to more people. At least in theory, that's how the algorithm works. And if you're new and you like this content, please subscribe, and then more of our videos show up on your homepage when you log on to YouTube. And that's basically the main advantage that I see to subscribing to different channels. So very good. And then as the eldest of 5, you're the backbone of the family. You're the leader, basically. I was kind of the quiet leader of my family. In hindsight, being so shy and so sensitive, I wouldn't have thought of myself that way. But when I look back at things, it's kind of, I was kind of like the ringleader, the instigator. Anyhow. So there's another Karen. Hi, other Karen. Both Karens. Welcome all the Karens. I had a little prediction that didn't really come true, but this was around 2021. I think that was the year of the Karens, right? 2021. So it was a joke, but I posted on Facebook. It's like, for this year, I predict there's going to be less Karens in the world and more Carries and Caros. It's just a joke. Anyway, the ironic thing, or not really ironic, but the funny thing is that I've known so many Karens in my life, and I've never known a Karen that was like that Karen, right? I've known other names like that, but anyway. All right, so already done. Like and subscribe. We love you. One love. That's what we need. It's one love. Let's live together and be all right, right? Little Bob Marley. I was actually not with any of the Marleys, but with Ruggs from Third World. I was he was my neighbor in Florida. So we had a good time together. Fortunately, he died, about 10 years ago, or maybe not even. All right, so this is for 3-card spreads. Let me clear my mind a second. My guys to pull me to the right card, because I know there's some messages for us for this week. This one, all right. All I have to say is wow. So we have the Two of Cups, we have the High Priestess, and we have the Devil card who is reversed. So firstly, good week to partner up. Basically, this is synergy. This is like coming together with like-minded people. This could also indicate for a lot of you solving some relationship issue. Now, I don't often put tons of credence when tarot cards come up reversed, but the devil card is one of those cards because the devil is really about what's holding us back. Basically, it's also Capricorn energy. It's not about evil or negativity. That everything in tarot is symbolic, but it does show. It's almost like the yang to the lovers card, which would be the yin, like almost like the dark side of the lovers card, as it were. Where the lovers card is about free will and choice, the devil card more about bondage or restriction of our free wills or choices. But it's reversed. And the high priestess, that's knowledge, that's mystery, that's intuition. It's the moon, and she has the crescent moon. She has the triple goddess sign, at least in the Hanson Robert decks, on her crown, the maiden, mother, and crone. So that's sort of the matriarchal or neo-pagan version of the divine trinity, as it were. So she has that. She also has the Coptic cross on her chest. So the cross is a symbol that's in Christianity, but in other faiths also. And she's holding, I think it's the Torah, but she's holding some text, I want to say, also. And she's very strong. She's very fierce, and represents the maiden aspect of the triple goddess also. Sometimes that card will come up when there's delusions also, or there's things that are delusional that we have to push through in our lives as well. But it can also come up for romance, like the perfect man or the perfect woman, basically. So I think for some of you, there's going to be focus on your romantic life, either somebody new or developing a relationship. But I think for a lot of you that are married or in a marriage-like situation, this is a good week to communicate and solve any disconnects that have come up also. Now, that can be taken in the context of what's going on in our communities in the world. It's like, where's there been a disconnect? Maybe we need to step back a little bit and not get so triggered by every bit of news that comes out, because a lot of it is scare and fear tactics. Hello, Adam. That's the same thing, but a lot of it's fear tactics, anger tactics. When we're fearful, our energy drops. When we're angry, our energy drops, and we're more easy to control, basically. Again, getting back to the news is like, and sponsored by Pfizer, and sponsored by Apple, and sponsored by BlackRock, whatever it is. These are this is like a web of delusion, a web of misinformation, basically, that is all around the media, the government, the corporations. And it's not always false news. I mean, a lot of the news is real. It's really happening. It's like, but it's the way everything is worded. There's the art of tricknology, and if not before, now's the time to understand that. That's thanks to Wujin, and my first martial arts teacher. You taught me this terminology, the art of tricknology. It's like they can be telling the truth yet deceiving you at the same time, just by how they word things or whatever. What was I looking up on on Wikipedia? On Wikipedia, it's totally bought out, I have to say. I was looking up RFK, also, because I wanted to talk more about him, because I didn't talk a lot about him. People like, oh, he shouldn't be in this office because he's not medicine. He doesn't know medicine. Fair enough. But his background is in law, and I knew that, but I wanted to get more details. His background is in law and advocacy, and the irony is a lot of his advocacy work was in environmentalism and bringing down some of the, or attempting to bring down some of the giants that are compromising the environment, basically. And now he's on Donald Trump's cabinet member, or is he a special government agent? I'm. If you guys know, you can let us know. But a lot of the executive orders, a lot of what's going on, it doesn't seem to be especially environmentally friendly with number 47, nor did it with number 45. But he is a top dog of somebody who fought for the environment. So I find that a little bit interesting. I'll put it that way. But that said, getting back, this is all about the cards. And this is the time to really step out of whatever's controlling us, whatever's controlling our emotions. Remember, programming isn't an emotional thing. It's the mind and the emotions are closely linked. So what the programming is designed to do, it's designed to hijack our emotions. And when we have a reaction for something and we think it's our own reaction, no, it's somebody else's reaction that we're programmed into us. And just kind of a little funny colloquial example of that is my father, God rest his soul, also used to yell at an animate object. He did not have patience. He used to yell at things. And what do I find myself doing when I get frustrated? Yelling at my phone, yelling at this. I'm like, oh my God, that's totally my father's programming. And we get programmed through the power of repetition. So what we see growing up every day, for many, many years, it becomes our emotional responses and reactions, basically. So the powers that be want to do the same thing. That they want us to react emotionally. That's how we're programmed. And the mind affects the emotion, and emotions are based, it's energy motion, but it's experiences hormones in the body. So anyway, I think you get the idea. So with that, I think one of the messages for today is really watch yourself how you react to things, whether it's the news or other people. See if you can identify pattern, because if you're observing it, then you're not the program anymore, right? As Dr. Joe Dispenza says, you step out and you observe the program in action, basically. And then that moment, you're in a place of awareness, not in a place of being the victim of your own programming. You're in a place of awareness. What does awareness lead to? It leads to change. And I've been at this for a very long time. Changing the programming is very, very difficult to do. But we have to understand that everything on the outside is a reflection of the inside. You can't do this in Newtonian physics world, like every action has an equal and opposite reaction, because it's a quantum universe that we live in. But if you take the sum of everything in your world, you know exactly what you're putting out there. And if you don't like it, it's time to go within and change the programming, basically. But it's not your fault. We don't want people to go into guilt and shame, like, oh, I'm such a bad person, I'm allowing myself to get programmed. No, it's an empowering message to understand that. And then through affirmations, sleep programs, through guided self-observation, there's so many tools, you can start to change your programming, change your wiring, and consciously do that. And it makes a lot of changes. So as I've changed my programming, for example, I can use YouTube as an example. That I've worked hard. The first 4 years, got maybe 10,000 subscribers, but at some point I was kind of like, you know what? My subscriber count doesn't define my worth. It doesn't define my value on YouTube. Of course, we know that intellectually, but it had to be more of an internal process. And once I was able to let that go, well, guess what? In the last year, we've gained over 15,000 subscribers, just by kind of letting it go and redefining things like that. And sometimes I find myself slipping into old habits. We all do. But the more aware you are, the more you're going to be able to catch yourself and then change that. So anyhow, so these are messages. This is coming. This is very spiritual, very psychic, very intuitive. And see what you want to partner with, who you want to partner with, who you want to collaborate with. Speaking of which, we're going to start to do guest interviews again on the Medium channel. I had to take some time off from that for a variety of reasons. We're going to start that up in May. So and I love being able to bring in other teachers, different points of view other than my own on the Medium channel. I love it. So what are you guys having to say? And then we'll move on to some other things. God, my hands are hurt from holding this thing. This seems like this. Thank you, Tracy. Welcome. And the body follows the mind, but also the mind follows the body too. It's an, at least in my view, it's an interactive relationship. That's why working towards mastering our mind, yes, is vital, or else the ego and programming runs our show. Excellent point, and I couldn't agree more with you. Hello, Pam C. Welcome. Maybe he bought things he never had and always wished to. Today I'm very feminine. Okay. I'm probably missing some comments, but I had awesome parents too. I mean, they had their issues, and there were some problems, but they were awesome. And the children always came first for my parents. They all providing a good education, doing things beyond and above to make sure that we had an inheritancy when they left. My parents did all of that. My emotions have always been so over. Exactly. I'm so grateful I can breathe through them. Thank you, Angela. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Uh, I'm glad you found us too, One Love. Yes, we are a family here, right? So let's move on. I have Kyle Gray's, what's the name of this deck again? Divine Masters Oracle, I think. I might get back to these cards in a second. No, I didn't bring my native. Usually I have a Native American card, but I didn't bring those out today, so I'm not doing them. All right, so let me clear my mind. What do the Divine Masters have to add to what we just said? Well, we got Mother Mary. Oh, we love Mother Mary, the Blessed Mother. Welcome, welcome, dear one. Miraculous encounter, divine experiences. Do not be afraid of being powerful. What's that famous Marianne Williamson quote? It's not being powerless that you fear, it's being powerful beyond measure, because with more power becomes more responsibility. I'm owning my power. I'm on YouTube. I, though I'm not like polarizing on my channel, I am expressing views that aren't always popular, which means I have a big target on my butt, basically. And that's often what we're afraid of, is scrutiny, being judged, being criticized, being harmed for our views or whatever. Why is that? Because it's happened in other lifetimes. It's happened before, and what happened before can happen again. But we have to remember, this is a new reality. No, we're not going to get burned at the stake because we know how to heal with herbs. So we're not going to be accused of witches and be burned in the stake. And they really wanted your land anyway, for the most part. They or what you had. They didn't care so much about you being a witch, right? But whatever the case, so Mother Mary is also an archetype of Kuan Yin, right? That's from a different faith, but a very similar energy. The Mother of God, basically, right? The Mother Jesus, although the Son of God, right? And we're all the sons and daughters of God, right? The way I see it, and I read from the Bible, though I haven't read for a while, but I have the Bible. It's like I don't remember the exact quote, but I'm the son of God, but we're all the sons of God also, right? And it's only through me is how you access the Father. I don't remember the exact quote, and it's been translated anyway from different languages, but only through me can you get to the Father, right? And people take that literally. You have to follow Jesus in order to know God. But what if the Father was just heaven, right? Heaven, and the Son was a manifestation of that God energy, right? The earth and all her beings. What if that's the Son of God? And then the Holy Spirit, what if that's the energy, frequency, and consciousness that creates all of this, right? That's kind of what I lean towards in my belief system. And I feel like it's a very relevant statement. Yeah. What does that mean to me? It's like, you got to know the earth in order to know heaven. Basically, we're here on earth to experience the earth. That doesn't mean we have to be bound by earthly laws, or we can still bring heaven to earth as part of our learning growth in this incarnation. And like Peter Gabriel sang in his beautiful song by Genesis called The Carpet Crawlers, you've got to get in to get out, right? You got to get in to get out, right? You remember that song? And so for those of us that want to escape the matrix, well, guess what? We're doing a retreat on that, August the 1st through the 3rd, escaping the matrix, retreat. But I'll tell you, I'll give you a heads up. You don't escape. You can't just escape the matrix. You've got to know every little line and every little verse of that matrix. You've got to befriend the matrix, be one with the matrix. That's how you'll escape the matrix, not through escapism, but through embracement, that we're here for a reason, basically. So anyway, all that came from Mother Mary. Thank you, Divine Mother, for that. You guys saying Queen of Heaven? Absolutely, yeah. I'm glad you're so much calmer these days, and so am I, yeah. And we are here to anchor the light. Absolutely, yeah. How can we do that if we deny that we are the anchor, basically? If we deny our physicalness, how are we going to anchor the light in this physical environment? And Lars, I agree with you. I think the quote was mistranslated. Jesus wanted everybody to recognize their own divinity. Absolutely. And I got the chill. Mother Mary agrees with you. Say, yeah, absolutely. Amazing. One love. Yes, right. Peace that passes understanding. Yes, 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 yes. All right, so let's pull another one. Let's go with our frequency of the week. I won't sing What's the Frequency, Kenneth, though I'm tempted to for the REM fans out there. I never got to see them, but I saw a clip when they were doing What's the Frequency, Kenneth, and they actually bought Dan Rather out on stage, which was hysterical. Oh, and if you don't know the story, that song was about an incident with Dan Rather with some psycho, I guess tried to wrestle him to the ground and kept saying, "What's the frequency, Kenneth? What's the frequency, Kenneth?" Anyway, all right, clearing my mind. In this family, because I love my music, I attract a lot of music lovers. What can I say? So anyhow, here we go. This is the card of the day. And we got Synergy, number 41. Which is, this card is also about synergy, the Two of Cups. And what does it say? The frequency of synergy supports our allowances and acceptances of not so obvious, never seen before combinations and unions that result in new ways of functioning, working, thinking, relating, loving, and being. It reminds us to embrace the unfamiliar so that new yet exciting co-creations can give birth to a new reality. And since I'm on a musical note here, and you can get some of the messages by just gazing at the sacred geometry. It looks like a scarab or scarab motif in the middle. Also, that could be like the life weaver, the spider, the one that weaves unity as well through synergy, right? Oh yeah, there's this song by Jethro Tull called "The Inside" from Benefit. Song's been on my mind a lot lately. It's such a beautiful love song, but it's kind of like like one of the lines that pops up in my mind is, "Can you cook? Can you show?" Well, I don't want to know, because that's not what you need on the inside to make the time go. But there's all these references about how, if you create a beautiful life on the inside, you create a beautiful life on the outside. And the last line of that song is, counting lambs, counting sheep, as we've fallen asleep, to awake to a new day of living. I love you so. And I love that line. I love that song, basically. But anyway, if anybody wants to listen to that song, it's one of my favorite Jethro Tull songs. It's one of my favorite bands ever. I think it's called um the Inside, and it's from the album Benefit. Anyway, I had to Oh, I could have seen them in November at Bethel Woods. I mean, their new album is better than what they put out in many, many years from what I've heard also. And yeah, maybe they'll come around next year and I'll see them. Because they are one of my favorite band. I never got to see them. Yeah, Aqualung is if Aqualung wasn't so played out, it probably would be my favorite album. The Benefit is. And what you're saying about REM is now helping to save Radio Free Europe since 4070 funded it. Oh my goodness. Why Radio Free Europe? And that was their first song, right? Radio Free Europe. REM hit the ground running when that song came out. They were an instant success with that one. Yeah. I believe that Tull had to be amazing in concert. Yeah. Had to be amazing. So anyway, let's move on. So we get into our little musical conversation. So we're at the first card of the moon. Let's get a message from the Moonology cards. All right. So anyhow, clearing my mind. Here we go. Found my card. And this is full moon in Capricorn. Well, we're not going to have a full moon in Capricorn until July, I guess. I think July, late June or July, when the sun's in Cancer, its opposition. The end of a tough cycle approaches, right? And what is this card kind of saying with the Devil card reverse? An end of a tough cycle's approaching. So this is the week for us to maybe clear all that needs to be cleared. Get ready for that full moon energy. In about 2 to 3 days, we hit the 11th day of the moon. I think we're at the 8th day. So Wednesday is the 11th day of the moon. That's when the full moon energy start to really clear. So the next few days, let's clear stuff. What don't we need anymore? What chains are holding us from being the best people that we can be and doing the best work that we can be and connecting more with spirit, God, or source, basically. Oh yeah, in a way, I wish I was a little bit older. I mean, I'm 66, but the only reason I say that is that I miss the hippie era just by a few years, and I'm sure I would have loved it. I loved it in the 70s. I'm sure I would have loved it back in its heyday. My hair's short now, but those of you that know me definitely see the hippie in me, definitely. So I've got the Isis Oracle deck. Same age as me. It's 66. Who's 66 here? Aquila, my friend. What song? Oh, Wind Up. I say, what song do I really love from that album? Wind Up. I love every song from that album. I love. It's redundant. And Benefit also. And Thick As a Brick. Those are my 3 favorites whole albums. But most of them are brilliant. Wasn't a big fan of War Child, but anyway, most of them I really loved. All right, so let me clear my mind a second. All right. Okay, top card. I like picking the top card. Very good. Top card is High Priestess. That would be this one right here, right? It's amazing, this synchronicities, right? And the synergies and all that. That's the same card, right? The High Priestess. Mysteries revealed in the eyes of Isis. Divine Feminine. This may be a big week to really honor Divine Feminine energy. Any week's a good week to honor the Divine Feminine. The Divine Masculine too, right? It's all about synergy. The polar opposites becoming one and the same, kind of blending into divinity, basically. And what else? Wow, there's a very powerful being over her head. I'm not sure who that being is. Is that Osiris, maybe? If any of you know, let me know. You feel great and look pretty good. I bet you do, Pam. Yeah. I mean, I don't think I'm doing too bad for 66. If I wasn't such a sun worshiper my whole life, I wouldn't have all the wrinkles. But anyway, I don't regret that at all. And what else? And she's just really powerful. Yeah, what a powerful archetype, right? Divine feminine power. Uh, Wait, I think I'm 66. Wait, you're losing count, Karen? What? Uh, I think you do start to lose count after 60, right? uh, yeah, chronic illness. Yeah, unfortunately, yeah. You know, you know what? Exactly. I buy organic. It's expensive. I mean, I'm doing better financially than I've ever done in my whole life, and it's a process because I had very, very, very deep from this and other lifetime negative money programming. So it's kind of like I teach people how to get wealthy, and I need to do the same, right? It's like we got to lead by example. So, but even when I couldn't pay my rent, I couldn't do this, I couldn't do that. Even back in that time, I'd still buy organic food because I figured, you know what, I'm never going to solve this issue if my health goes bad, right? So take care of yourself, right? Nobody's going to take care of you as good as you're going to take care of yourself, basically. All right, so let's do our totem animal for the week. Let me see what you guys are saying for a sec. Yes, lots of feminine and it helps to balance the masculine. Native practices usually have a man and woman medicine person present to balance the energies. Absolutely, yeah. And other indigenous traditions also. Pam was saying she eats organic. Jody saying that she loves the high priestess card. I do too. I and Pieces in the Moon. I tried to eat organic too. And Pam's also saying, I was broke. I taught my kids to work for whatever they want or need. Thank you. Yeah. Sometimes, you have to, like you said, you have to get in to get out. It's like, how could I really have compassion for those that don't have money and suffering if I didn't go through that myself? I mean, intellectually I could, and empathically I could, but there's nothing like the experience. Like I don't have regrets for being a heroin addict when I was younger, because now I know what it is, and now I'm able to help other people that have that disease also, basically. So, we can't be afraid to experience, even if they're not fun experiences all the time. So anyway, yeah. Yeah, I was went through periods of being, I'll say homeless, though even being homeless, like I when I was away from New York, I had places I could go to. I wasn't on the street. I just didn't have a home. And then when I was in New York, of course my parents would let me stay there, but yeah. This is good practical knowledge, right? Greetings, Valhalla Spirit, you beautiful soul yourself. Dollar Tree sold non-GMO heirloom vegetables, seed pack. Wow, nice. There you go. And well, welcome, Valhalla Spirit, and greetings all. And of course, of course, like you would know this. Of course, my son's name is Odin, like you would know that. Speaking of Valhalla Spirit, but his name is Odin. um, and my friend, YouTube friend Melissa, who's not on now, I don't think, has a dog named Odin, so we kind of hit it off through that name. Anyway, another thing. So anyway, so this is the medicine cards. I'm seeing an owl, and then I pull a raven. Well, I'll pull the bird. And a crow, because a crow wants to come out also. We talked about murders of crows. I get that around here. Ravens and crows are similar, but they're not the same. Ravens sound different. Ravens are much bigger. Crows are about law, spiritual law. Ravens are about magic, mystery, like the high priestess. Um, and all birds are about messages from spirit, basically. I mean, they're dark birds, they're black birds, so maybe there's messages about how to embrace the dark side in order to transcend it, right? We're dark and light beings, right? We're both. We just what we feed is what we are. So we feed the light, but we don't deny the dark either, right? So a lot of you may be getting messages from your deceased loved ones now, because that's connected with Raven especially, but with both of these winged beings. And yeah, that's good energy. That's a good message for today. See anything else? Yeah. Yeah, magic's in the air. All right. Oh, we're on an hour. Very good. Yes. I've seen a lot of hawks recently also. So I've seen the hawks, and there's always a lot of crows where I live though. Um, oh, that's cool, Jody. All right. So let's finish up by an angel message. Let's see, what do we have going on for live streams this week? I think Friday night we're going to be doing the full moon forecast live, and then Monday, a week from Monday, is the full moon. So we'll do some channeling and some frequency work for that. And I may come on to do like some prayer work or some energy work. I think as time goes on, I'll be doing more of those types of events here, getting together, sending prayers out for those who need it, for the earth, for the sky, for our fearless leaders, that they can really lead with compassion and all that good stuff, and that we can cut through the corruption and what's limiting us and what's bringing everybody down, so that we can have a smooth transition into a more awakening, more ascension. So these are good things to pray upon. And those that are suffering through the wars, we only hear about maybe 2 of them or 3 of them, when there's dozens of wars that are going on the planet, in the natural phenomena, one thing. And by the way, if you missed it, let's see, because I did one live stream and one upload for my May 2025 psychic forecast and predictions. Now the upload is only 20 minutes long. The live one, where we go into much more details, an hour and 20 minutes long. And the upload had, I recycled my thumbnails that perform well on YouTube. So the upload has the thumbnail that says something about the time. I don't even remember what it says. The timelines have changed. And the long one has the breaking news thumbnail on it, just so you know the difference. All right, anyway, and we got Shanti, peace, Om, Shanti, 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 Om. So let's vibrate in peace. The more we can vibrate in peace, maybe we'll do something. Tomorrow's 5/5. Well, I think I need a day off tomorrow, to be honest. All right. Anyway, tomorrow's Cinco de Mayo 5/5. So there's that natural numeric portal that opens up. But anyway, I am the angel of peace. I bring you new tranquility and a smoother road ahead. So anyway, that's a really good one. Oh, thank you, Lars. You saw both of them. I saw both the live and the upload. They are definitely worthwhile. Thank you so much for that. And again, if you like the video here, what we're doing, please hit the like, and maybe we'll get it out to more people. And if you came on in the middle, well, this was a very, very, what's the right word? Information packed hour, and most of it came through me. I didn't have anything written down that I wanted to say ahead of time. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om. Hi Lucretia, welcome. And everybody else, anybody that I missed, thank you and welcome. And we're gonna sign off. So if you guys want to go back to the beginning and catch all the information that came through, again, big week, big week of synergy, big week of spirituality, big week of clearing all obstacles to our ascension. So this is the thing to focus on as a 20-second recap. Love you guys. Thanks for being here. Oh, by the way, before I end, if anybody wants to get into our inner core community that's called Sphere Mind Family on Patreon, and it is astrology month. So we're going to talk a lot about astrology this month, and we do more powerful frequency work with the master teachers there, because it's a paid platform. Well, you can join for free, but to get the good stuff, it's a paid platform. It's $5 a month, and that way it's a group that keeps coming back, so they can work a little bit more deeply with you. When it's on YouTube, anybody could see it. It's still powerful on YouTube, but they can go a step farther and try to say. So we do that twice a month on Patreon on Spirit Mind Family, and it's all exclusive there. So I do videos I don't do anywhere else, meditation I don't do anywhere else. Every now and then I use one that I did in a paid class, but nowhere free. Anyway, enough commercials. We're done. I love you guys. Thank you so much, and we will see you at the next video.